In the quiet Canadian city of Oshawa, no one could have imagined that behind the walls of an ordinary apartment lay one of the darkest crimes in recent years. This story is woven from mysterious disappearances, grim discoveries, and a horrifying truth that came to light only by chance. Two young women, Rori Hache and Kandis Fitzpatrick, were full of dreams and plans for the future. But one day they disappeared, leaving their families in despair, searching for answers. Only years later did the world learn that their fate had been in the hands of a man hiding in plain sight. His name was Adam Strong. It all began when a fisherman discovered human remains in the water. No one could foresee where this discovery would lead. The police began piecing the crime together step by step, while neighbors had no idea that terrifying secrets were hidden in the apartment next door. This story is not just about crime. It is about how evil can live among us unnoticed, and about the struggle of families for justice and the memory of those they lost. Family and friends of 18-year-old Rori Hache began to worry. She had stopped answering calls, her phone was silent, and all attempts to find her brought no results. Rori was cheerful and open, but vulnerable. She struggled with addiction and sometimes ended up in unsafe circles. Her relatives went to the police, spread flyers, and hoped she had simply left for a few days and would soon return home. But days turned into weeks, and hope faded. Everything changed in the fall of that year. In September, in one part of the city, a fisherman made a chilling discovery. In the water, he noticed a strange bundle, and when he opened it, it turned out to be human remains. The news spread through Oshawa instantly, shocking the community. Residents could not believe such a thing was possible in their quiet city. Police launched a large-scale investigation, and soon it became clear the remains belonged to Rori Hache. This discovery became the turning point. What began as a missing person case quickly turned into one of Canada's darkest criminal investigations. It was now clear that Rori had fallen victim to a monstrous crime. The investigation into Rori Hache's tragic death led to an even more horrifying revelation. When police began carefully examining the area where the remains had been found, they noticed a suspicious man living nearby. It was 45-year-old Adam Strong, already known to local authorities for minor offenses. The real shock came in December 2017. Residents of the building where Strong lived complained of a strange smell coming from the plumbing system. When plumbers were called to clear the pipes, they discovered something horrifying: human remains lodged in the system. Police were immediately called, and soon it was confirmed that the body parts belonged to Rori Hache. But the case didn't end there. During searches of Strong's apartment, police found traces of another girl who had gone missing years earlier, 18-year-old Kandis Fitzpatrick. Her disappearance had long remained a mystery, but now investigators finally had a grim answer. During interrogations, Adam Strong behaved coldly and detached. At one point, his lawyer admitted what everyone feared: his client was indeed connected to the remains found in the apartment. This became the turning point in the case. What had seemed impossible was confirmed. In a quiet residential building lived a killer who had turned his apartment into a place of horror. Adam Strong's trial became one of the most high-profile cases in Ontario's history. The courtroom was filled with tension. The victims' families, journalists, and local residents followed every word. The prosecution presented a horrifying picture of his crimes. It was proven that Strong lured young women into his apartment, where they vanished forever. Key evidence came from forensic tests. DNA traces of both Rori Hache and Kandis Fitzpatrick were found on knives and tools inside Strong's apartment. Photos shown in court revealed the horrifying conditions in which he kept human remains. For the jury, these images were undeniable proof of guilt. The defense tried to argue that Strong was not the killer, but had merely found the bodies and didn't know what to do with them. But the court quickly dismissed this claim. The DNA matches, the evidence of dismemberment, and the chain of events all pointed directly to his guilt. Even more damning was an audio recording in which Strong himself, speaking to neighbors, effectively admitted his involvement in the crimes. In February 2021, after lengthy hearings, Adam Strong was found guilty of 2 counts of first-degree murder. The judge called his actions cold, brutal, and devoid of humanity. The sentence was clear: life imprisonment with no possibility of parole for 25 years. For the victims' families, it was a painful but long-awaited moment. Still, they never received an answer to the most important question: why did Strong commit such monstrous crimes? The verdict against Adam Strong marked an important milestone for justice, but it did not bring back the victims, nor did it ease the pain of their families. For the loved ones of Rori Hache and Kandis Fitzpatrick, life was forever divided into before and after. Their parents often admitted to reporters that they had lost a part of themselves and that no sentence could ever fill that void. In time, memorial events began appearing in Oshawa. At the place where the first remains were found, people left flowers and candles. Community organizations, shaken by the brutality of the crimes, began raising questions about how police handle missing persons cases. Kandis's family, who had spent years trying to draw attention to her disappearance, publicly stated that if the investigation had acted more swiftly and persistently, perhaps another life could have been saved. The story of Strong shocked the entire region and served as a grim reminder of how vulnerable young women can be when caught in difficult life circumstances. Now the names Rori Hache and Kandis Fitzpatrick have become symbols of the fight for justice and remembrance. For their families, the most important thing is that the girls are not remembered merely as lines in a crime report. They want Rori and Kandis to be remembered as real people, daughters, sisters, and friends, whose lives were cut short too soon. And they want their tragic fate to become a lesson society must never forget. The story of Adam Strong is not just the chronicle of a crime. It is a mirror of how the cruelty of one person can shatter families and scar an entire community. Oshawa was forced to face a nightmare no one could have imagined, that among them lived a man capable of such atrocities. But beyond the dry facts of the case, the most important thing remains: the memory of the victims. Rori Hache and Kandis Fitzpatrick were living, breathing people with their own dreams, hopes, and futures which were cruelly stolen from them. Today, their names serve as a reminder that indifference and inaction can cost lives, and that every missing person's case deserves urgent attention. And although the verdict has been delivered and prison doors have closed behind Strong forever, for the families of Rori and Kandis, the story will never truly end. Their grief and sorrow will remain eternal, but so too will the memory. And for all of us, it is a lesson. Evil can hide nearby, and only vigilance and compassion can stand against it. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next investigation.